I look after cloud and cybersecurity for Liquid Intelligent Technologies. And what we want to talk about today is the trends of cybersecurity across Africa. And the reason for this is we are an African company. We run in 16 countries across Africa. We run multiple businesses, as you can see here, to introduce the whole Cassava Technologies group. I think most of you would know Mr. Richard Muthua, who's the chairman of the Cassava Technologies group. So within the group, we have multiple companies. And to start with, we do power, Africa DPA, distributed power. We do Africa data centers, where we have data centers across Africa. You do know Africa Data Centers in Kenya, formerly known as EADC. We do have liquid data port. This takes care of submarine cables, backhauls across Africa and across continents. And then we do have Societech, where we do banking and financial services. So we do core banking, we do devices for banking, your PDQs and all. We acquired a company called Telrad recently in Israel. This is a company that makes communication equipment. Via Technologies does a lot of software development, software management, and then Liquid Cloud and Cybersecurity, which I look after, where we do cloud and cybersecurity services. So we will talk about a research that we do every year. We spoke to several CEOs across Africa, the major markets being South Africa, Zambia, Kenya, that we took there. And some of the things we've seen, there's still a lack of skill, right? And the suit. So we realize that a lot of executives are still not able to dissect the cybersecurity issues upwards, either to the board or downwards. So it brings an issue of the whole organization understanding cybersecurity impact, cybersecurity requirements, and what needs to be done. Some CEOs spoke to us about their proactiveness and their thinking around being proactive, which was very good. Because in cybersecurity, we all need to be proactive. So this is a trend that we picked from some of the CEOs we spoke about. And then we're talking about cyber defense, improving organizations, taking proactive approach to prevention and adapting to their techniques. So as organizations improve, as cyber defense systems improve, some CISOs, some CIOs have observed that the bad actors are also adapting to the improvement. So for example, as cybersecurity systems, defense systems go AI, we see things like Hack GPT, all right? So the hackers are also going AI. So they meet in the middle. So as you improve the defense, the hackers, the bad guys are also improving. Some of them also spoke about shortage of skills. So they're not able to get skill, either get the skill or retain the skill to maintain the security for either their physical assets or cyber assets. So we are also seeing decision makers now focusing more on cybersecurity, focusing more on the design aspect, design or rather secure by design. So these are some of the conversations that we've had with the CEOs, we've had with CISOs across Africa, and they give us a view of what the trends are specifically. So in these reports also, and this is a report that we do every year. This we did in 2022, released in 2023. We are busy talking to CIOs, CISOs across Africa to release one for 2023 this quarter. So we're talking about, I hope you can see, the investments that have been done when it comes to cyber defenses. So this is in Kenya. So we're seeing 85% have advanced protection for their systems. And these are CISOs talking to us about this. And this is based on the trends that they've seen in the market. 65% are looking at data backup as a key thing across the operations. 35% are looking at web content filtering. We will be seeing in the later parts of the presentation how the cybersecurity attacks as a trend are moving from the network layer to application layer and also through the web applications that we've exposed. And this is why we see a growth in this. 40% believe that email is key when it comes to cyber breaches, and they have invested 40% of their resources in securing their emails. I think the problem with that is more than 95% of the breaches come through emails. So there's definitely an imbalance between the investment and the risk when it comes to email systems. And then around what do people fear the most? The concerns. So number one there is malware. We're looking at 72%. People are concerned about malware. We are seeing 40% about breaches, and this is in Kenya, or people gaining unauthorized access to data. We know about the Data Protection Act. We know people have been fined, people have paid. 35% are concerned around data protection and people losing their data. And then access management. 62% are concerned about access management. So this is about how do you control who accesses what? How do you make sure the right people access the right resources? How do you make sure that the person accessing the resources is actually the person who ought to be accessing the resources? We have also seen cases where authorized people, authorized users come in as software, or people develop bots and come in using live accounts, and they do damage. So user access, resource access is a big issue. So there's a huge fear that 68% of them are fearing that cybersecurity will bring down their businesses. So these are good fears because, again, from the executive level, if you understand that cybersecurity is no longer a CISO conversation, is no longer a technical conversation, is a business conversation, then that's a good movement. So in summary, in Kenya, so people feel illegal access to information is a great concern. Again, we have, in the recent past, heard of cases in public around information being leaked. And this information could be either things like photographs, business critical information, personal identifiable data, especially organizations that deal with customers directly, and it will bring problems to the business. Reputational damage is a big concern across businesses, across Africa. Most of them we spoke about were not even worried about the financial damage or financial loss. They were more worried about the reputational damage and impact to their brand equity. 90% of respondents recorded having gotten a data breach or cybersecurity breach in the past year. So I think this number could also be skewed, because I think 99% of the breaches are not reported, only 1% could be reported. So AI is benefiting CIOs and CEOs. And I think this was a very encouraging view, or an encouraging outcome, to realize that we have CEOs, we have people in the board, we have people in the ExCo who are adapting to technology, who are moving with technology, using AI to understand cybersecurity issues faster, using AI to make things simple. I think most of us know ChatGPT by now. We do use Google AI, Gemini, and all. So we have realized that also CEOs have gone there. It makes our work easier as a cybersecurity experts, as a cybersecurity caretakers, if the CEOs can start adapting to these technologies faster. The other country we look at is South Africa. And again, we see almost the same fears. So 67% in South Africa have advanced endpoint protection, which is a bit higher than Kenya, I would say. 50% two-factor authentication. This is an interesting point. We have seen, or we have dealt with a lot of customers and organizations who have ignored the two-factor authentication, a simple thing. And through this, they've lost a lot of money, either through their resources being breached and used on the cloud, or their data being breached and exposed. In that way, they have to pay fines. So these simple measures can save you a lot. We are also seeing data backup being common, secure VPN being used across South Africa, email security being at 46 in South Africa. I think the same year, there's a company in South Africa that lost, I think, about $20 million through phishing. So probably that's where we see a growth in email security across South Africa. And then business tendencies. So South African business look at threats as a growing thing within the same year we did the research. So there was a 77% growth across South African businesses. The biggest security threat to businesses, South Africans see 66% as the part of business threat that cybersecurity brings. So at high level, there is almost a common view across these key markets in Africa. So in summary, so hacking and unauthorized access remains a big problem in South Africa also, a common issue. Financial impact goes to around 50 million rands within South Africa per incident, and we've spoken about companies losing through phishing. Budgeting for cybersecurity has elevated basically CISOs to where they used to spend in the industry. So previously we've seen CISOs being looked at as, or security department, cybersecurity or IT, being looked as source of spend or a cost center. So we're seeing businesses changing that mindset and looking at IT, cybersecurity as a value center, because if you can save yourself or if you can hedge a risk, you can hedge spending, then you become a value center. So the rand value spent per employee in South Africa has increased from 19% in 2021 to 31%. And this is based on the investments that we do to look at cybersecurity and protect data. So Zambia was the other country. And at high level, we almost see the same figures as Kenya. So 69% have advanced protection, which is your HTTPS, your web. Secure VPN at 46, data backup at 46, same as South Africa, interestingly. Web content filtering, so web security is becoming an issue across the markets. I think the interesting figure here is 93% of Zambian businesses said email attacks are basically a big threat. And I think they're almost right, or rather they're the most accurate or most honest, because most of the other countries have put email threats as a lower figure. But if we know what happens, then email threats at 95% and above. So data loss remains a key issue within Zambia. We are also seeing business disruption coming into Zambia at 31%, which is higher compared to the average across all the other countries at 12%. So although Zambia recorded threats, lower threats compared to the other countries, 62% are saying that the threats had increased in the last year. So they could be lower, probably because of the growth in technology or reporting, but most of the CEOs there believe that these have increased. So we've spoken about 71% having experienced breach last year. We've seen in Kenya we had 90%. Authentication procedures and vulnerabilities on mobile devices remain a big issue in Zambia. We know all the applications are going mobile. We've spoken about two-factor authentication. We've spoken about mobile banking. So as you move to technology or as you move to digitization, also the bad actors would be moving there. So the Zambian market appears not to be as advanced as South Africa and Kenya yet. So this might mean that the reporting might not be accurate and the awareness also might not be accurate. So I think this is back then, but coming closer to where we are today, I think some of the threats that we've seen coming up or some of the trends. So insider threats are becoming very common. So either because of staff who are not happy, or because of corrupt or behaviors within your fraternity of staff members. In security, there are a lot of things that are looked at. Human behavior. So insider threats, again, are the most lethal because these are people who know you. They know everything about you. And when they execute a breach, then it will be proper. Supply chain attacks. I think in the recent past, we've dealt with several supply chain attacks, either through DDoS or through malware or through ransomware, where your supply chain is broken. Either the supply chain is being broken to impact your business because of problems between competition, or your supply chain is being broken for people to gain access to your data. Because if you're doing supplies, then you do have customer data. You do have personally identifiable pieces of data. So those are some of the reasons that we see there. Phishing attacks are becoming common. We are seeing a lot of documents that are left sent around. We are seeing around a lot of banking applications, emails being phished and sent out to people. Mobile malware. Everybody has a mobile device today. Everybody is using a mobile device. Most of the people use their mobile devices for both work and personal stuff. So these become a target because if I can get your personal data and I can get your official data, then I can link back to the business. So mobile devices have become a target, and that is why mobile malware is becoming very common. Social engineering, it's an old thing, but it seems to be gaining traction again. I think in Kenya, most of us have gotten funny calls from, most of people say they are committee. I don't want to say that. But again, there are stories of people having lost a lot of money. There are stories of people having sent money where it's not supposed to be sent. There are stories of people having given information they shouldn't have given, and it has hurt them. So social engineering is also becoming a key thing as we go along. Money in the middle, we are seeing a lot of this, especially where information is being intercepted. We are seeing where personal data is involved. Money in the middle attacks are coming in very high to either infiltrate, gain access to this data, or expose the data. IoT botnets. As we move into technology, as we embrace technology, we've seen a lot of deployment of IoT systems, either to control your homes, to control your machines within factories, to control even agriculture. We're seeing IoT everywhere. So this is also a good entry point. And as you grow in your IT, then so does your attack surface grow. So botnets are being developed small enough to run within the IoT edge devices, and they do not need a lot of resources. So this also is being used as a way to infiltrate into the enterprise systems. Cryptojacking, this has been there also for the last few years, but now it's growing again, mostly because of the crypto businesses that are going on, mostly because of a lot of businesses going crypto. Countries now formulating laws around cryptocurrencies, crypto businesses, which means a lot of people will go there. So as we develop in technology, so do the bad guys. Application portal exploitation. So in the last few, maybe 6-7 months, we've gotten several cases where most of us or most businesses have portals. And even the government, eCitizen, has several portals where they will ask you, take a photo or scan your document, upload it with these specifications in terms of sizes. And then there are very few organizations that do checks between the upload and the storage or the processing. So what has been happening is that the bad actors have been lacing these documents. As long as your portal is open for uploads and it's not secured properly, you will upload the document, and once it is uploaded, then it sits behind your database, or it sits behind your data store or your data lake, and that is where it will start sending signals out. Controls will come in, your ransomware attacks will come in. So this is important, that you secure your portals, that you allow people to upload documents. DDoS, or distributed denial of service, has also been on our lips for the last 6-7 months. We know around September to December to now, several big organizations were impacted in Kenya, across Africa. Nigeria was also impacted, Ethiopia, and a lot of countries across Africa. So denial of service has become a problem. And the biggest problem is that we've moved from the classic denial of service on the network side, and now we are doing the application denial of service. So what we realized is a lot of these threats come in as the old way on the network, but this is just white smoke. And once you concentrate on the network, then they will come onto the application layer. And that is what was happening for the last 6-7 months. So that also is a new trend that has come up that we need to be aware of. AI-based threat evasion and attack launches. So we spoke about ChatGPT, we spoke about Gemini, we spoke about a lot of other AI capabilities. The problem is that you can go right now online, and with $1,000, you can cause a lot of damage using AI-based attack launches. You can launch a DDoS attack. You can launch a malware, you can launch very complicated and sophisticated attacks using AI. And you do not need to be a cybersecurity expert. That is a real problem because if we look at disgruntled staff, for example, if I leave the organization, I could have been in finance, but I know how much you run as an organization. Then guess what? I can go to a dark web somewhere. I can gain access to Hack GPT. I could execute a crazy breach on your network because I know how much you earn, I know how much I will pay, and I know how much I will gain. That is a big risk. So people need to move. Organizations need to move with technology because if the bad guys are moving to AI, then your cybersecurity systems, your defense systems need to move into AI. You need to walk away from dependency on people. Yes, these things happen, but how do we move forward from here? And there's no 100% being secure. There's no 100% security. So as you think of your business strategies, as you build your business, as you ideate your business, then today your cybersecurity has to be core of your strategy, has to be core of your thinking. You must design by including cybersecurity first, secure by design. So as you think your business, as you think your systems, you must think of security. Identification, visibility, and proactive monitoring of your cyber assets. We've found a lot of situations where people don't know where their cyber assets reside. People don't know the value of their cyber assets, and people don't even understand how to protect their cyber assets. And your cyber asset could be anything. It could be your mobile device because you have data in there. It could be your company strategy. If you go to Google right now, use proper search strings, you will pick a lot of company strategies. You will pick people's CVs. You will pick companies' financial reports that are confidential. So we need to, first of all, identify where these cyber assets are, protect them, and then continuously look at them. So you must guard around against complacency. And in this case, we look at, yes, you've bought a firewall today, you've deployed endpoint protection, you've deployed other security solutions, multi-factor authentication, but you don't sit back and say you've deployed these, so you don't need to do anything. That is where people get complacent, and that is where the bad actors come in and take advantage of your ignorance or complacency. So we must always stay vigilant. Proactive thinking and planning. There's something we call procurement or buying at zero option or investment at zero option. Don't wait for that point where you have no option because you might end up paying 10 times. Do these things proactively, walk slowly, and continuously invest modularly as you protect your assets. Training will come up in a lot of conversations today. So continuous training, education, and reminders. So we know that when you have 10 people, you will have different behaviors, you will have different thoughts, you will have different ways of doing things. So you must always train people. You must always remind people around cybersecurity, and you must always make sure that everybody within your organization is aware. Zero trust policies, multi-factor authentication, such things need to be embraced, and people need to be educated. A lot of time we deploy security solutions, and your CEO will come and say, I have no time to start looking for my phone so that I can log in. I have no time to start defining the confidentiality of a document so that I know where to save it. Please remove these things from here. We need to educate that level of leadership so that they understand that when that junior IT representative is coming to tell you cannot just save a document without labeling it, you should understand that they are helping your business, not them, or they are not making your life difficult. Focus, plan, and invest on cyber resilience. So a lot of time we wait until we are breached for us to start thinking. We also need to start thinking because there is no if, it's about when. If you haven't been breached yet, you will be breached soon. So you have to think about being resilient. How fast can you recover after that breach happens? So you need to partner, collaborate, and share information. I think most of the time we fail where I get breached as an organization, I hide behind the curtains, I sort myself out, I do not want to say it. The next person gets breached, they keep quiet, and it goes like that. That also is something that the bad actors take advantage of because they can use the same breach mechanism 1, 2, 3, 4 times without being noticed. So we need to start sharing information. It could be problematic, but as CISOs, as leaders in cybersecurity, it does not hurt having trust and sharing this information. You need to keep testing. Today, if you are asked all the systems that you've deployed for cybersecurity, your DDoS mitigations, your firewalls, endpoint protection, do you know if they work or not? Most likely you might say yes or maybe. It's like buying a car. You don't want to test the brakes on the highway. You want to test the brakes at the workshop so that if they don't work, fix them. You don't want to test the brakes when you're speeding. So keep testing. Yes, you have deployed the firewall, you have deployed endpoint protection, but you need to start doing things like adversary simulation so that you know, don't have to wait until the breach happens for you to know whether your systems work or not. Ensure early inclusion. So as you build your security strategies, build your security systems, you need to include everybody that is going to be using these security systems. Because we've seen lack of inclusion also means if you do it as a CISO or as an IT fraternity, then coming from a different department and you start pushing me to your policies, then as a human being, I will by default resist. So that resistance could be 1 minute conversation, 2 minutes conversation, and that could be the point where the breach is happening. So you need to have a holistic view when you're investing or you're deploying or building your cybersecurity strategies. So again, just to finish up, we are a partner. Recently, I think most of you would have seen across social media, we formed an Africa-wide partnership with Google. So we are able to deliver all these services. And this is also to extend the capabilities around security. So we do offer multiple security solutions, and latest being Google. So with Google, we can extend AI-based security solutions. We can extend data security, data analytics, and everything around your data management. Thank you very much. That's me.